Good morning. We are on a beach in Ile de Re in France, and I'm really excited to paint this gorgeous beach view of the dunes with the path, the shadows, and hopefully some boats are going to come. There's some little red sails are hopefully going to come. So I'm using an 11 by 14 board, made it a portrait format, focusing on the path going down, leading in hopefully to the boats. And yeah, the sea. So excited to start. Let's do it. If you like this video, do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.
Sadly, 20 minutes of our video didn't come out with the sound, so I'm going to do a little voiceover just so we don't lose the footage. So here we go. I'm using burnt sienna and yellow ochre to draw out, putting the path and the horizon line on thirds so it's more pleasing to the eye, and also moving the path slightly to the right as well so it's not in the centre. I'm using a Rosemary & Co. short flat ultimate bristle brush. It's quite a new one, so it still has quite a crisp line that I can make the sails. I'm using the red mix and just adding a little bit of yellow there. I don't want it to be too precise at this point, just getting in that kind of triangle shape. I put all four in there, and I just think the composition isn't very good. It's all too even. So I'm going to take out the third one along and move it along a bit and make a more of a space. I'm mixing a neutral colour but more on the blue side, and putting in the hulls with a Pro Art sterling brush, quite soft. The little red stripe at the top of the sails, I am not putting it in too light or bright at the moment. It's just marking it in to get the placing right. And then later on I'll lift the colour and the tonal value to make it pop a bit more. Working on the sea, the farthest away sea is bluer, so I've used more cobalt, and then the closer towards the shore is greener, so I use more cerulean, and I'm just adding a little bit of lemon yellow. Also, I've put in some cobalt teal. It's a Michael Harding colour, which is gorgeous, and it works well for this lovely turquoisey waters.
I've made a decision about that sails over there. I'm going to have 2 white. I can't decide whether I actually need them in the painting or not, but I thought if I put them in, I can then tell. I can always take them out. There's a whole load of kids there.
So those ones will go soon.
Get the bigger out. Ivory rigger number 4 from Rosemary & Co. And also they've got a blue blue front and then blue sail. Okay. Then going back to these whether I've got the shape good enough. I wouldn't normally spend so long on one area, but I know that they're going to go. I'm not happy with that. I could use a cleanish brush, and just wipe it with a bit of perch. Okay, so now I'm going to get the this bit. I like to work kind of outwards, kind of like a mosaic, so then you can tell whether the colours and the tonal values are correct because you've got them next to each other. If I started with this and then went over here, it's harder to tell. So maybe the same. Bigger brush on into my eyes just to see the tonal values compared to see the boats. So this was the mix I did. See how it looks on there. Not too bad. So it's lighter in the middle and here. A little bit more liquid yellow. So I want to make sure that this is darker than that, because then that will make it look like it's really in the light. If I do this too light, I won't be able to do that. So I can also shape the hull. Finishing off this area here, just so I'm aware that these boats are going. putting a kind of a low tide wet sand in. Get an idea of how it is. So my red boats are just going. I think I must just try and get some light on those sails. Mix some cad yellow in there. Smidge of white. I don't want it to go pink. It's hard to tell when it's in the shade. Might need to darken some areas too. To make the light stand out. Wasn't fun. I'm using my trusty rigger because it is really fine, those sails. They say if you do them too clunky, it just doesn't look right. I don't want it to be tight, but I want them to work. Don't go quite yet. Oh. No! Come back!
10 green bottles.
Oh. There's a fun in there. Feels like I should do this bit because it's a big area, and then I can see how the tea's doing. I've got my cerulean mix that I did. Add some lemon yellow with it. That's a shocker. A bit more paint. A bit sparse.
What's that?
Sparse.
Thank you.
Not too bad. Quite funny.
Nice.
So St Martin, how is it? Ile St Martin de Re. or Ile de Re, as it's commonly known, is on the, it's about, I don't know, 4 or so hours from the north coast of France.
Cool.
Cool. And but it has a feel of being on the Med. A lot of French people come here for their holidays. It's, you know, it is just delightful, I'd say. Really enjoying it here. Put a bit more lemon yellow in there to the horizon. Not too much. That horizon's great. And I'm just moving up, so I've got my mix, which is cerulean and white, no lemon yellow. I will probably, I will do some more. This is an undercoat. Just put more on it. It's too thin at the moment. That, bring it down. Go a little bit darker at the top. A bit more. Anyway, I remember someone saying years ago that sometimes you have to put it on and it scares you a little bit. You know, be brave in other words. That'll do. I'll blend a bit more in a minute. So I'm going to move up into the foreground now and do those posts with the darkest parts. So I'm going to start with that and then work back dark to light. Raw umber, yellow ochre, ultramarine, earth. I think it's slightly pinker, warmer in other words. Sometimes you can push a colour too. You know, make it more purple if you want to. It doesn't have to be exact all the time. Let's try it. Not bad. I'm sure it's thin enough. Starts to be translucent. So this side is darker. I want to give the impression of it going away. Notice that actually that needs to be a lot higher. Done bigger gaps here than Yeah, and that gives an impression of
Distance.
distance. Thank you. Hard to talk and paint at the same time, like rubbing your belly and. I'm now going to do a continuation of that shadow for here coming out because it helps us and the composition design. I'm going to make it a little bit bluer. That's not a dirty colour. It's dark, I think. I'm using that pink blue. It's quite useful. So I think it's a derivative of ultramarine, similar colour, like pre-mix sort of thing. But because of the footprint, the shadows are all bumpy and lumpy.
Wiggledy waggledy.
Add a bit more ultramarine because I thought it was bluer. But it's airing on purple at the moment because purple, excuse me, is a complementary to yellow. Quite often that happens with shadows. So we got those boats in, all tootled off.
They've rather generously left you one.
This is true. I'm looking at the shape of the shadow edges, make sure I get that correct. So he isn't correct. Get that off. And goes across. And there's some shorter ones and longer ones. Yeah, there's a kind of an arc. And
You have made that post taller, so a shadow will have to be.
true. Good point. Useful having a husband who is a photographer, got a good eye.
Aye, aye.
How much I see of this one coming off the board. Just go a little bit again. We're going up that way. Have a lighter. There is a shadow on the edges of these, but they're not dark. I've also made sure that the distances between are different. So as I did with the post, I'm starting with the darkest areas of the grass. It's easier to go from dark to light because if you try and go light over dark, it's quite hard to get it light enough. So, and vice versa. So, I don't know if that makes sense. Do ask any questions. I'm happy to answer anything on this video. If something doesn't make sense to you, do ask away. So there's some cool blues at the bottom. Lovely grass. Hard to tell at the moment because I need to get some that sand in, the really light sand.
tell whether it's working or not. Using my 3 primaries again. Had yellow, scarlet red this time, and cerulean blue. Varying the amount for each one. Quite a warm shadow under there. Add some cool in a minute. The kind of core. The grass is really light around it, but it won't show up unless I have some darks too.
That was me just blowing a bug off.
Okay.
I thought I was being discreet, but then I forgot I had a microphone.
I want to get that idea of that grass.
How dare we hog that path?
I think that's a cut. That might not go either.
We got looks.
I know, I guess she's just curious.
And
I'm very charitable.
and faint.
Slightly blue over this. The idea is I'm not going to get all of that grass detail in because it would make it look too fussy. So I just want to give it a impression, feel of it. I'm blocking in the colours to start with. Just added some yellow ochre, cad yellow. Because when I squint my eyes, those posts really stand out. So this and this is quite similar.
It's just a bit greener, the grass. Can't tell if this is working without putting some of the lighter in there. Stand out from this. Graduated. It's not all really light. But darker colour in there, darker tonal value. So I'm using a bit of red and a bit of blue into that yellow. If I put a piece there, you can see how dark it is. I think shadows I think are a little bit strong in this area. The side. Loads of footprints, so
And we've had a couple of bicycles go through. Oh, blimey.
Adding a little bit of light. Try to post. I can then tell the grass is okay. Kind of billowy grass. Maybe it's too light now. Oh. Oh. Now, and get this grass looking better. I've blocked in the shape. I'm now going in to try and make it a bit more convincing that it's grass. I'm doing it the direction of the growth. One.
The stalks.
The stalk. Got the light on the end of them. And that one down there. Just leave colours in there, purples, that will look quite nice. You can't really titivate stuff until you get it blocked and get the board covered. And you can go back in. I think it's too dirty to colour. A bit cleaner. I'm going to try again. So I'm using cerulean, red yellow, yellow ochre, and a smidge of red, not too much, because that's what makes it dirty. Blue, there is some blue in there. Let's see. Easy to forget this side. It's not in the shadow. It's not as fun to paint right in the shadow. I'm going to try for the lighter areas. Quite thick paint, as you can see. The light tends to be thicker and the dark is thinner on an average rule, but not always. It's the oil painting really. So I'm using the kind of coarseness of the brush, so you can see a little bit of the strokes to make it look like the grass. I like it that it's a double fence here, adds a bit of interest. I'm just going to put that in. A bit higher. Yeah, you can't see them down there. Popping out as maybe a little. I wanted to make sure I get this kind of shadow look right. They're kind of quite strong purpley, bluey, grey colour as they go away, and they're warmer. They've got more yellow as they're in the foreground. I'm also making sure I get it so it looks like they're going over the footprints, the bumpy bumpy. It's kind of a more natural shape if I can do it with this. Better. Catches the eye, the lights. I need to have some warmer ones. So that was a kind of a cool pile. I'm going to do a cool, warm pile. Okay. For the ones further away, I'm lighter with the brush, and I barely touch the board. Some of them are a little too chunky. I'm getting rid of them. It needs a little bit of wave action. I'm using a bluey mix that I've got on here from my sky, plus
Yellow?
no, warm white. It's quite bright, but it's very small. So when I started, there were no people. Now there's a lot of people out there. I might put maybe a couple out just to give it a bit of life. But it's not going to be big population because it was a kind of a start of the day one. So these pictures because they look a little bit purple. This sea is a little bit translucent, so I need to add a little bit more paint on it. It's too thin. The colour is looking gorgeous out there. Two brushes from earlier, one greeny, one bluey. They're bluey there. Back to my bluey pile, cobalt, lemon yellow, white. Sometimes you need to add red in it if it's too bright, but it's a really bright sea. You don't have to cover all the underpainting. Kind of patches of light on it. It's not even, you see. If the wind is on it, so that adds a little bit of spice, I think, just doing that. If it's further away, I don't want it too bright. I'm going to add my complementaries again, so in other words, both the red and the yellow, the primaries. Also, even up the sea if I need to, that horizon line. Won't put it right. Hoppa. I don't want it a super crystalline though. Not a crisp thing. I'm just going around with my rigger to make sure that it's making the shapes of those looking nice, looking right. I really need to go back in with another rigger and get them right a bit where I went this one over. I'm just doing some last minute kind of what it needs to bring it together, and one of the things is to make sure the paint is thick enough, and the sky was a little bit thin going on, so I'm just thickening that, making sure it's kind of rich enough, getting the colour right.
And then
quite a big area of the painting, so it needs to be working. Okay to have some brush marks showing. I just need to check it and see whether it's working all right. All right, that's it. I'm stopping. Well, that was it. What an amazing paint. Enjoyed having the sand between my toes. Don't often get to do that. And yeah, enjoyed all those little yachts and the shadowy path. I hope you've liked it. And also, it's been nice having my husband here filming. I wanted to just introduce you before we go.
very glamorous.
Yeah. So thank you for filming, Nick. And I hope you've enjoyed watching. And if you have, do subscribe to my channel and like the video. Hope to see you next time. Bye for now.